Starting. And we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a live stream, but this one is not me playing any video games, not like my usual Tuesday events or any spontaneous acts of gaming fantasism. This is a live stream chat with a fellow that you might be familiar with. We have help for the Guildless, also known as Antoine. Hello, sir.
Greetings.
And
I'm very excited to do a stream. I've only been on one other, and it's always something interesting. So,
oh, who have you been with?
well, it was my own.
Oh,
It was just basically me and my friend Brockus, and then Jeff Holiday actually showed up for a little bit.
oh, so you have been blessed by one of the YouTube saints.
I have. It turned into kind of an impromptu interview, which was he is genuinely a very nice man. He really is. And it was I don't know if he thought it was an honor for me. I'm sure for him it was just another 26 minutes that he was killing in between time he was doing something else. But I got to ask him some questions and got to talk to him a little bit, and it was all fun and games.
Jeff is on my bucket list of YouTubers to have some kind of interaction with. I've already spoken to, for a little bit, Irate Bear, Omegon, Alphabend, a few others, but definitely Wizard of Cause and Jeff Holiday are among the top, as well as Vernaculus. One day, maybe, but that day is not today. We are talking about. We're going to be talking about a group in just a few moments that actually has gotten under my skin. Not for anything they particularly have done or said to me exactly, but this was more in a passing. I forgot. I think I came across it through another Twitter feed, and I just so happened to look into it, and something about it just makes my blood boil. I'm not sure about you, Antoine.
It annoys me to no end. I can tell you that. Uh, but it is what it is. Everybody has to have something, I guess.
Before we continue, what got you into YouTube?
Well, believe it or not, Help for the Guildless was supposed to be a Magic the Gathering advice channel that lasted all of 5 episodes, and then it shifted to just general geek news, and then it shifted from general geek news to talking about social interactions into social causes in geek stuff, and then it turned into I want to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. What started that is actually a sad story. I don't know if you want to get into it or not, but I ended up losing a friend of mine of 8 years. He was my best friend. He was the best man at my wedding. He was also paramount in giving me support when I got divorced. But I lost him to social justice, third wave feminazi.
Oh my.
Yes, and it it wasn't a good time. And to make a long story short, did not like me because I didn't agree with everything she had to say, and she turned him against me. And at one point we lived together, and that was fun. If you consider, rampaging rhinos, very limited area fun.
I'm sure those rhinos had very sharp horns.
Oh yes, and the problem is she could not handle me.
Or,
If anyone, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I would actually probably say she couldn't bend you. Not.
There's that, but I mean, she really couldn't handle my attitude because I don't know if any of the people who watch your stream or anything, watch any of my videos, I'm very staunch in what I say. I live by the marker of my word is my bond. And that's why I do research. That's why when I state my opinions, I make sure I know what I'm talking about. I know a little about a little and a lot about a lot. So when someone comes at me, they better know what the fuck they're talking about, or else I'm going to tear them apart. So she started in on blonde jokes at first, and I was like, and she started in on stereotypes, and then it just, at one point, she, a long Facebook diatribe about how I'm a horrible person, how I'm using people, how I'm a manipulator, so on and so forth. You know, I'm a misogynist, I'm a sexist. You know, I'd already blocked her on Facebook. The only person who showed it to me was someone who actually was a friend of mine who was still following her. We were living together when this happened. They took our mail key, and I'm getting this. Just follow my logic here. It's getting to a point where police are involved. But yes, so they took the mail key and would not give it up. So I asked my friends on Facebook, what should I do? That I should contact the police because it's mail tampering, which is, you know, in America is a federal crime. You can't do that. So what I was going to do yet. And as I'm talking to my girlfriend, I see a police officer pass my window. It's weird. And then I hear a knock at the door. I go out there and I stand there. And she goes on this long rant about how I am trying to get her arrested, how I'm bullying her on Facebook, how all this. And the cop just looks at me and goes, well, she wants me to arrest you. I looked at the cop and flat out said, you're not taking me to jail tonight. I've done nothing wrong. She didn't like that. He asked me has to see the Facebook post. It comes to find out she didn't like it. Wasn't anything that I had to say. It was my friends, which to, you know, the people that follow me have something bad to say about her, and I'm supposed to be able to control them. Remember, I'm a master manipulator. So she calls all of the she calls me everything underneath the you know, under the sun, and the police officer says, look, because that got brought up, you have more of an he can press charges on you. And he looks at me and goes, do you want to? I said, no, I don't care. She didn't like that. So she said then he's going to jail tonight. And I said, no, I'm not. And the police officer said, look, if I have to arrest him, I have to arrest you. And she goes, I don't care. I said, you don't care because you don't work. I have work in the morning. I'm not going to jail. Another long story short, I know I'm not making this short.
That's okay. I enjoy long stories.
Okay, so she screams at him that she wants the post commander. Intersectional feminist. So that plays an important part because the post commander happened to be about a 35-year-old black woman.
Oh.
And she proceeded to take the post commander out onto the foyer and explain the situation. I got taken outside by the other police officer, and my friend at the time got taken outside as well. And we were just standing there, and I could hear her not screaming. I've heard screaming. She was shrieking at the post commander that I should be arrested.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, so the police officer just said, you know, the post commander will be out here soon. Is there any way that you guys can work this out? I said, I have no problems with anything. I was just trying to find out how to get my mail. My friend didn't say anything. Post commander comes out and says, there's nothing that can be done today. You didn't break any laws. You won't be arrested. There's no police file there's no charge that's going to be filed. And then she tried to ask what was going on between me and my friend. And she asked, is there any way that, and he said, I haven't thought of me as a friend for a long time. There's nothing to save. that's kind of what started me on the road to where I am now. I hate that I lost my best friend. Bothers me today. But it opened my eyes to something that I didn't need to see. You take that one trip down the rabbit hole, and suddenly everything comes to the forefront. So we moved out, and then about a month after we moved out, I got CPS called on me. Talking horrible, horrible mess. And I had to
Child
explain to...
Protective Services?
I was a threat to abusing my daughter.
Oh,
And they were trying to be anonymous into who complained. But the moment they said that you've been accused of being a sexist and do you hate women, I went, I know exactly who filed the complaint. And they froze because it's supposed to be anonymous. I'm not supposed to know. So I explained to them about my YouTube channel. I explained to them what was going on. And I explained that this is all just my opinion. Whether she wants to listen or not is up to her. And they stopped me. They didn't want to hear anything. They were like, "You're not supposed to know who it is. I'm sorry. Police will file. You know, the police will be showing up if they've to do a follow-up. It's standard procedure. If nothing is wrong, this case is closed." Up because the two people who came from CPS understood that it was just someone calling because they didn't like me. So that kind of bolstered my resolve to do this. I got to where I am now. I started following Gamergate almost immediately, and I wish I would have jumped onto that bandwagon because then I possibly could have been as popular as Monday and Matt. But I decided I was going to stay with the Magic the Gathering stuff when that happened. But excuse me just a second. I'm so sorry.
sir. Actually, give me just 1 second as well. Small timeout.
Small timeout. Good idea. It is a bad thing. So, how's everybody at chat? Anything? Anything? Oh yeah, there's a delay for 30 seconds to wait. Yeah, it's true, Gabe. A quiet rogue usually means a dangerous. And you do have to be careful when there's a quiet rogue. Then we wait. Again. Everybody's busy. Everybody's busy in a way. Everybody's busy.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry, Penn's not here yet.
Ah.
I am the Canadian Rogue. I've been kind of listening on into your conversation. I'm just one half, or at least 1/4 of the team that we put together.
Well, it was very nice to meet you.
Same. Though I'm quite intrigued on your approach on Gamergate. I was within that groupage.
I agree. I agree with Gamergate.
Okay.
Know what it was about. You know, I read the Zoe post. I got a chance to talk to Aaron Joni before he got, big and had to get kicked off of social media because of Zoe Quinn. But talk to him through Twitter, not like do an interview. I wasn't into the social commentary aspect yet. So I understood that it was really exactly what it was, pointing out that the incestuous nature of games journalism, how they, the Game Journal Pros list, I thought was completely and utterly ridiculous. She got attacked, or she quote unquote got attacked. Should we send her a card and a bunch of flowers? Should we show her support? No, because she's not a journalist, for one. She slept with 5 different men, not for a positive game review, but positive coverage. That's what everybody tends to get confused about.
Correct.
And she's a vile human being. But yeah, I understood. And then just everything being pushed about Gamergate being, at first it was Gamergate is 40 perma virgins in their mother's basements, Cheeto stains on their fingers and nothing but trolls. And now apparently Gamergate is responsible for Donald Trump being in office. So, I mean, the balance there is kind of skewed, I think.
Of course, it's askew because we've been out of Gamergate for what, 2, maybe 3 years. It's been pretty much a shadow of its former self for a while because some of our big guys are no longer really considered Gamergaters.
Yeah, well, that, and I think it's turned more into a watchdog group.
Yes.
You know, we act when something goes wrong. It's not but we're also the biggest boogeyman on the internet. I used to think it was 4chan. Anonymous was supposed to be the biggest boogeyman on the internet. Apparently, it's a bunch of gamers that would rather play games than deal with bullshit.
So true, so true. We're one of 3 big boogeymen: Anonymous, 4chan, or 8chan, depending which way you want to go, and Gamergate. They'll never get rid of us because they keep talking about us and they keep trying to slander the name of Gamergate or GG to fit their narrative. We stopped playing that game. We've just moved on. The old
That
slogan.
and what I love. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
What I love is Gamergaters. Not all of them, but some of the high-profile ones have come out as serial sexual harassers. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, the antis were always strange. One is an actual pedo, the others are serial harassers, and a few others that are questionable.
Oh yeah, it's so yes, I was pro Gamergate. My first introduction to it was the Quinspiracy from now Mr. Metica, but it was Internet Aristocrat.
Yeah.
And
For me, it was the RC chat. It was over 10,000 um, chats, or at least 10,000 dialogues that went missing.
yeah, that
But
it's
yeah, if it wasn't for the Internet Aristocrat or Mr. Medicare back in the day, John,
yeah.
I don't think we'd have been as noticeable. Monday Man was the first one to approach it, and he was banned or taken off.
Yeah, so through Internet Aristocrat, I found Mundane Matt, I found Sargon of Akkad, and through them I found people like Bearing and the Honey Badgers, and this is what I'm talking about, going down the rabbit hole. You see one thing that leads to another, that leads to another, and your eyes just kind of open, and you start to realize these things, and it really is mind-blowing for someone to have that type of an epiphany.
I have returned, and hopefully that will be the last interruption. Just issues with internet and phone not wanting to work, and I'm not restarting my internet again.
Well,
Oh, Rogue has joined us. Thank you, Rogue, for popping into my room. Remind me to.
Yeah, well, I filled in your dead air and had a chit chat with your lovely guest about GG.
Yes, GG.
My home away from home.
before we move into the actual topic of the video, I just wanted to let you know, Antoine, I understand where you're coming from, and I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. Only because my best friend of 15 years basically did something similar, not calling the police though, but went from being conservative when I met him, and he actually turned me from just being left of center to right of center over the course of 12 something years. And then by about the time Gamergate started, he started going back to school. He told me about what was going on when the conspiracy happened before the whole Gamergate thing started happening. And I was introduced to Anita Sarkeesian, not through what people complained about her. I literally had just heard about Feminist Frequency receiving the 160,000 Kickstarter pledges to start her Women in Video Games series.
Did you know she's trying to raise money again?
Oh,
She made $1 million last year, and she's still trying to make money for her new podcast that no one is listening to. She's gone to review games that no one is paying attention to. She is trying to find her next controversy, and it's not working.
No, it's
I think people have pretty much been fed up with her.
You wanna know what's funny? I was actually into the idea of the women in video games. I was actually curious to see, okay, I wasn't a feminist. I was more egalitarian, even though I didn't know what egalitarianism was at the time. I didn't call myself an egalitarian, but I was more like that.
Right.
So I was curious to see what perspective she had on it. And growing up, I'm the eldest of two in my family. My brother is younger by 4 years than me. So I grew up from the mid-'80s into the 90s being the gamer in the house. My parents had bought the NES, and I played it. We skipped the Super NES, we went to Sega, we went to N64, we went to the GameCube. When I could afford it, I bought my own systems, the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and every console thereafter with my own hard-earned money, because by then I was able to work. But my brother and I played all the time. We got into Yu-Gi-Oh! I wasn't, as I was talking before the show, I tried my hand at Magic and I just couldn't get into it, but I was deeply rooted into Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's something that
I have friends now that still play Yu-Gi-Oh! They bring their decks over all the time, and they tried teaching me, and I was like, there's too much math in Yu-Gi-Oh!
The math was fun for me. I've always loved math. I have always loved numbers. It's just, it was our thing. It was something that I could relate with my brother and do. And when I was growing up, and I remember that there were days at school where there was nothing going on, and the teachers were kind of okay with the students bringing in their consoles. Could you imagine a middle schooler playing on a PlayStation or Game Gear? Mind you, the teachers really didn't have an issue with middle schoolers playing things like Mortal Kombat and Marvel vs. Capcom in the classroom on these lazy days.
Oh, but they have a problem with it in college.
Apparently.
See,
I was never excluded, and I grew up in an area that I live in South Florida. I'm born and raised here. Very diverse community. I'm not saying diverse as in, to highlight, but geographical location-wise, we have the Bahamas and Jamaica off to the east. We have Cuba off to the south. We have Haiti and whatnot. So we get the Jews. Okay, I'm Jewish myself. We get the snowbirds every so often who have homes here during the winter. So just geographical and cultural-wise, this is just who we are. And never have I experienced any kind of racism racism, that too, sexism, the proposed women harassing games.
That's until you met me, Pen.
Well, that is until I met you. I've
But
always
you
been
also
past the
grew up.
controller. I would.
You also grew up knowing what shit talking was, and you also grew up knowing what competition was. That's the problem. It's the people now. Gaming is huge. It's a multi-billion dollar industry. It is the biggest entertainment industry right now. And there are people who want to weasel their way in. That's why they bring up things like gatekeepers. There are no such thing as gatekeepers in gamings. You just pick up the controller and start fucking playing.
The only
You just
gatekeepers are the end
go ahead.
boss. Let's be honest. The only end gate yeah, on the only gatekeepers are the end boss, and those we can take down with mad hacks. Let's be honest.
Very true. But they don't have the thick skin. They don't understand, they don't want to understand. I hate to use this term, gaming culture. Gaming culture is competition,
It's not just
trying to be better
competition.
than the other person.
No, no, no. It's not just
But
competition, but it's also cooperation and fair play. These are things that
I,
are integral to what gaming is because it's so interactive.
I was going to bring up cooperation next, but that's fine.
Sorry.
Steal my thunder. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
But yes, it is all of those things. But I grew up. Listen, my mom, first person in the entire block to make it to the final boss on Super Mario Brothers. She didn't use warp. She didn't use the warp pipes. She went from 1-1 to 8-4, and when she got there, she had 99 lives. By the time she came and got me, because she couldn't beat Bowser, she had 15 lives left.
Oh no. Okay.
So she showed me how to get through, because she just handed me the controller and said, "Here." Well, I hadn't gotten that far. I was still working on getting past World 4. So she told me, "Okay, every single time you hear the chime, you went the right way. This is how you go." And I beat Bowser the first, he started throwing his hammers and I passed through it and beat it right then and there. But my mother was the one that introduced me to the ending of Super Mario Brothers. She played more than I did. She bought me an old school brick gray Game Boy.
I
Do you want
remember
to know
that.
who played it more?
Her, I bet.
My mom and my dad. They picked up Tetris and they kept a tally of who had the best score. Every single time they beat that score, they'd scratch out the one beneath it and write some little trash talk.
Not to interrupt, but that sounds normal. The massive majority of people who bought the game's units were adults. They said it was for the family, but they actually bought it for themselves.
Well, because it was new, it was the thing, and who better to get it introduced to the kids than the parents? Because then they can learn, and then they can pass that along. I
Yes,
don't
but
blame them,
it
but
was
still.
all of our friends. My best friend growing up was a girl. Girls are icky thing. I grew up in a time where we had actual block parties. There was nothing. We knew our neighbors.
This I remember too.
Yeah, and that's not around anymore. And that's why games are so integral. Is kids, because they don't go outside. They just hook up the PlayStation or the Xbox or go onto Steam and they talk to the friends that they've met all around the world. That's their companions, that's their grouping, that's their generation. The people that are trying to get into gaming now, that are pushing the crap we're going to be talking about, because they just want to see it as another hurdle to go over, something that they can take control of, something that they can manipulate to make money off of, or swing their way. It's not that they don't want to understand games, and that's the problem.
They didn't grow up in the culture. They didn't do their time. They didn't put in their hours like the rest of us have. So to intrude upon a space that isn't yours and then claim that there are problems in the community just shows that you as an outsider, not saying you, Antoine, but you as the existential feminist or social justice warrior who may be listening, to claim that you are the moral arbiter because you see these problems, don't know what it means to be a part of this family. You think you do, you say you do, you say that you have witnessed this for years, but let's be honest. You're here because gaming is no longer the niche. That gaming is no longer the uncool thing. It is part of...
It's worldwide.
It's worldwide in its main culture, and you want to play catch up, but you realize that you can't because there are so many other people who have been here ahead of you, who are much better than you, who are kinder than you. But you wanna turn the table and say no, you're horrible people, and I'm the only good person. Or
You all are problematic and toxic. Let's just throw the buzzwords out there now. I grew up when if you wore a video game shirt to school, there was a good chance you were going to get your ass kicked.
But it was funny. Just my origin coming into this, like I say, around Gamergate, with Sarkeesian starting her. Like I said, I was interested, but it was when I was about midway through the second video, her second damsel in distress video, that I started to question some of the things that she was saying. Like she started off well enough. It seemed plausible. It was like, okay, maybe there were some issues with some games, but that's not representative of all. And then she starts talking about Mario and Peach, and I'm like, do you even know about Mario and Peach? Do you even know their history? People can't go and save each other because they actually care about each other. I don't think this is right. And then it wasn't until I wanted to make a comment on her video that I noticed, oh, comments are blocked. Oh, that's weird. So are what is going on? And it was because of that closeness that I was like, wait a minute, I can't be the only one that has some kind of criticism to this. So I said, I basically typed in the YouTube search bar, Anita Sarkeesian, criticism. And what was one of the first videos that popped up?
You probably got a slew of videos.
One of the first ones that popped up was Thunderfoot's video, where he's playing.
Thunderfoot.
Where he's.
I loved it. Oh my god.
He's playing.
That man.
What is it? Dragon's Lair in the background as he's talking, and it's like, yeah. This guy's saying what I was already starting to think. Yeah, this is. I knew I couldn't be the only one. And then I'm reading through his comments, and I'm reading the pros and the cons, who is in favor of, who's against what he's saying, and defending Sarkeesian. And I'm just reading the back and forth. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, that her third video is about to come out for damsel in distress, and she has all these. I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it just seems really odd. And the more it just started to unravel, the more I just started to shake my head. And this, mind you, she started the series before Gamergate started, so I was already like, there's something wrong with this. And then then Gamergate happens, and then it's just, okay, no, by now I've already seen enough, because by then, but even before her series came out, I already knew that developers and reviewers had some kind of really weird backdoor partnership. And when I say backdoor, I mean, like, let's get the lube and get your rear end prepared. Some kind of backdoor partnership where you give us a good review, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours, kind of thing, which kind of just skewed my thing on wanting to look at reviews.
It left a bad taste in your mouth.
I need a lot of bleach after.
Mouthwash?
Yeah, well, bleach.
I was surprised that you didn't figure it out ever since your Kickstarter.
I didn't know about the Kickstarter. All I
Her
Oh.
Kickstarter was there was hinky things. You could never comment on anything. She did that through her entire thing, and she did it. She left her comments open on one video,
let me.
and
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead. That one video is what she bandied about for her harassment. That had all the trolls on it, quote unquote trolls, because people don't know what real trolls are, and she showed that to everyone. And everyone took that and went, "Oh my God, she's being harassed. We need to save her."
It was it. Let me backpedal a second here. Because I said I didn't know about I knew about the Kickstarter, but only after the fact she had gotten the money and had already started her series.
Her tropes.
Started her tropes. Yeah.
Which took her 7 years.
And she's still not done because she's
12 damn videos.
I don't count 2 and 3 parters as a separate episode. She was supposed to go on for 12 separate topics.
Which she can never do
No,
because technically she has 3 of them that are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yes, very true. But apparently for her, she did the last Tropes First Woman in Video Games video, and it was right after strategic butt coverings, which...
Oh my God. What a ridiculous comment. He must have some kind of special Wayne tech to cover his ass. I'm like,
yes, it's called fucking gravity.
Yes. And I'm sorry that your camera work is kind of shoddy there, Miss Sarkeesian.
No, she didn't even do it herself. She got somebody else to do it.
That or she stole somebody else's game footage.
Oh, and the fact that all you have to do is play as Nightwing, and you can look at his butt unaltered as much as you want, because he doesn't have a cape. Oh,
Also, you can do Batman Beyond. He doesn't have a cape either.
Exactly. It's after I watched her first her 3-part first one of Damsel in Distress. I watched the second video. By the second video, I started to compare her to Mr. Fantastic because holy shit, that woman could stretch for things.
And twists and turns and knot herself up.
Yes, it was ridiculous. But she does she started something that people saw, which was victimhood as something that was profitable. That model happened. Everyone else jumped on the bandwagon. I don't have to do anything. I just have to claim harassment, and I can get people to donate to me on Patreon. And leads us into things like AnyKey, because it's still victimhood that wants to have representation, or we were talking before calling it advocacy, because it's always advocacy. It's never the people who are actually having problems saying anything. It's someone else who is talking about it. You are not strong enough or smart enough to talk about it yourself, so I'm going to do it for you. And it's virtue signaling of the highest order, and it's bullshit.
Very, very nice segue there, sir.
I try.
Well,
sometimes I can't do a segue on my own channel to save my ass, but I can do it when I need to.
And those are the best. So
you should really come to GNF because you can segue all you want.
In fact, I think if you're available to, well, you said you're not available. You might not be available during the weekend, but if you are, you're always welcome to join us on a segment of Gator and Frog.
If I have the time, I would be honored. But I work graveyard, and because my schedule is very, very wonky, my sleep schedule is always broken up. If I was working tonight, I'd be asleep right now. So I do things on Thursdays and Fridays as much as I can.
I understand.
Because like I said, I have a daughter. She's 4. She is the apple of my eye. She is amazing. She is got her own little personality, and I'm not going to gild Lily too much about her. But I work at night. My girlfriend works during the day. So while while one of us is sleeping or out, the other one is watching her. So I don't have much time to do anything else, which is why I do all of my editing at work.
Oh.
Because I'm allowed that. I have a, that's why all of my uploads are at like 6 o'clock in the morning on Pacific time. It's because I have finished editing and I can upload it at work, and I have a lot of free time at work, and I swear to God, this is the easiest job anybody could ever do.
He sounds
And
like somebody I know.
Well, both of you are Pacific time, though I think, one of you is American, one is you Canadian, so it's possible you might know each other, possibly not.
I don't think I've ever met Mr. Rogue, but I did spend some time in Canada. I lived in Edmonton for a while.
No, he would have never met me. Yeah, if it's Edmonton, I avoided that place like the plague.
I ended up living on the streets in Edmonton for about 6 months. That was a fun experience.
Yeah, especially during the winter, it sucks.
Oh my God, it's so fucking cold.
With about, in some cases, 10 feet of snow is insane. So you're looking at about roughly minus 30 on a good day in some places, and it's just snow galore.
Well, I ended up living when I was living in a house, I was about 4 blocks from the Edmonton Oilers stadium. But when I ended up being out on the streets, I was actually downtown, so they did a lot to keep the snow out of everything. But I can tell you one thing. White is a boring color after a while. Snow needs to go away.
But it's okay to be white.
It's okay to be white, but not okay to have snow on the ground 9 months out of the year.
Sometimes I wish I could trade places. With Florida, it's 9 months of nothing but 90 plus heat in about 70 to 80 humidity.
I could deal with the heat. It's the giant ass bugs that you have in Florida that I
Yes.
don't. When you can rope and saddle a water beetle, I'm done.
Well, during our summers, but it gets nice and hot. We get a boom of iguanas, unfortunately, and they're just out all over the place. I was driving home from work a couple of months ago. Usually our fall is more the hotter of the seasons. I don't know, for some reason it just feels like everything kind of shifted over a season. Anyways, end of August, beginning of September, I'm driving home, and off on the side of the road, within about 50 feet of each other, were like 4 or 5 iguanas out near the sidewalk and in front of this huge grassy area, which means there were probably even more of them out in the grass. And I mean, these suckers are easily 3 foot long from nose to tail.
That's when you capture one and you train it to be an attack iguana. You tap it on its head and use its tail as a whip. Trust me, you will never be bothered by anyone ever again if you walk around with a 3-foot iguana on your shoulder that can attack at will.
I am going to give this a try next time I see a couple of them. They would be great for keeping some of these, being a gamer gator, or I should just say a goober gator. It would be nice to have a couple of reptiles on your side for this little tiny kek amphibian. Which is also kind of a story behind why our podcast is called Gator and Frog. Gamer gators, keks, and me living in a swampy area or South Florida near swamp. So yeah, the Bogcast. It just all worked out.
Very, very, very punny. Very punny.
I know, I should be punished. Ha, punished. All right. So
let's talk about AnyKey before we go off on another tangent that has nothing to do with what we were going to talk about.
Well, it was all a series of segments leading up to the crescendo. AnyKey. is basically one of those organizations that wants to advocate and promote inclusivity in gaming because, oh my god, their mission is to help create fair and inclusive spaces in esports for marginalized members of the gaming community. We pledge to provide competitive gamers with resources, support, and opportunities, highlight positive role models, create knowledge and tools to help create more diverse communities and supportive networks. You can hear the acid in my voice as I just roll my eyes with this pretentious language.
It's, well, darling, I live in pretentious. This isn't just pretentious language. This is just, it's fluff. It's trying to make themselves sound more, and it's again, buzzwords: marginalized members of the gaming community, highlight positive role models. Well, okay, you're not giving any example of what those role models are. If your role model is Zoe Quinn because she's made a game, I'm going to pass. Because
That
Depression
wasn't a
Quest
game, that
almost
was
made me
a
kill
text
myself.
message.
That was a text message.
No
Jeez.
game.
And have you heard about her, before we get any further, have you heard about the new game that she's making?
I've heard about the game that
It's
she says she's making.
Dating sim based off of Chuck Tingle novels.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a surreal type dating game that is objectifying men. Power.
Sounds normal.
Yeah, no.
Sounds like something she does on a regular basis.
Anybody listening, anybody who's going to listen, do not look up this game. It will melt your brain.
Well, actually, there should be at least one that we sacrifice to the lambs. We at least need to know what it is so that everybody else can criticize it without having taken the
You know
the
I'm going to do it.
Good.
You know I'm going to do it.
Good. Rogue is our sacrificial lamb. He's volunteered.
No, I'm not a sacrificial lamb. I do it willingly. How is that a sacrifice?
You don't okay,
Well,
you don't have to do it doesn't have to be against your will to still be the sacrificial lamb.
Nah, there's no will involved. So yes, I will bring that to your attention.
Okay, so that was the mission statement, right? Talking about provide competitive gamers with resources, support, and opportunities. What type of... Okay, so AnyKey is an advocacy organization dedicated to supporting diverse participation in esports. We hope to foster welcoming spaces and positive opportunities for competitive players of all kinds. You mean how they've been places like Polygon highlight the all-female Overwatch team because it's all women?
I'm not.
I play Overwatch with my girlfriend, and she's really good. Does that mean I get to be part of this? That I have a diverse... I have a black friend. I have an Asian friend. I have a overweight white friend. I have a girl, and I have someone who is a staunch conservative, even more so than myself. And we all group together. Oh, and I also have a... He's not Iranian.
Some Middle Eastern?
He sounds like the whitest... He's Middle Eastern, but he sounds like the whitest white boy you have ever met. But that's part of my gaming group. We're diverse. Make fun of each other constantly. And not nicely either. It's some harsh things. Our friend Anthony, he's the black guy. He's the token black minority. There are black jokes abound, and some of them he says himself. Like, he sets himself up for it, and we just kind of knock it out of the park for him. But it's... Gamers don't need a competitive... dedicated to supporting diverse participation. We already have it. It's called games.
Yeah, we never needed it to begin with. It's basically ingrained, like you were saying, it's basically ingrained in what it is. It's an interactive medium, and that would eventually going from what games started out with, that would eventually bleed into competition, which means playing with other people, which means in order to play with other people, you have to be somewhat cooperative, even if it's competitive.
Well, Overwatch is a perfect example of that. I love Overwatch. I adore Overwatch. It's actually my very first-person shooter that I ever played. Well, not ever played, but ever played religiously. It's They just had their World Cup. Around the world were playing together. Yes, grouped up in their respective countries, but you had Swedes playing against Koreans and Chinese playing against Americans and Australians playing against
The
the
Russians?
Portuguese, the Russians, they were all together. And the second paragraph on the mission statement is an exact problem because of what it says. The first sentence: our current research and initiatives are focused on women in esports. They don't want diversity. They want not equal outcome. They want not they want equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. Women can play esports. There's no problem with women playing esports.
No, there isn't. I did a video on this earlier. I forgot what the title of it was, and not earlier as in recent, but I did a video on this. And I went through some of the data provided by the the ESA. I forget what it stands for. I apologize. But basically what this report said is 44% of gamers are women. Just a little under half. The thing is that
But what they don't say about that is most of those are mobile games.
No, not even just mobile games. Most of those are family and sim games, whereas the males participate in things that are more tactical. Maybe tactical is not. More shooters, more sports, more. Rogue, help me out here. What is the word I'm looking for?
So basically, it's called the Entertainment Software Association, ESA. Women play more or less strategy-based sims, where men will play more tactical first-person shooters.
Yes.
And that's true because men and women are, surprise, fucking different.
Right. That doesn't mean that we're not equals, but we independently like different things. This is how you can have some women who like the flowery or Candy Crushy kind of games, and then you could also have women who are just as competitive, if not more so, than the guys.
Yeah, but that population of women doing the massive competitive against guys is actually pretty small. You're looking at about, the last time I looked at it, it was roughly about 4%.
Right, but that's their choice. That is their choice.
Exactly. And the fact that they are as competitive as they are, they know how to shit talk. I've watched some streams with some female gamers that they shit talk better than, and that's hard to do. They know how to handle this shit, and they also know that at a game, they're not raging at you. They don't take it personally, and if it gets too bad, there are certain things that you can do to stop it. You mute them, you block them, you report them.
And that's the best
when
kind of
you
control.
mute them, you don't have to listen to them anymore. Yeah, when you mute them, you don't have to listen to them anymore. When you block them, you don't have to play with them anymore. And when you report them, you get to feel satisfaction that you complained to somebody about their behavior. Whether anything happens from it or not, it's immaterial because you still did something. And that right there, that last bit, is the problem. People want to report someone and have something done immediately.
But it doesn't work that way.
Sure.
It shouldn't work that way anyways. Here's the thing. Like, I play World of Warcraft and I play Final Fantasy 14. More Warcraft because it's been out a whole lot longer. The only time
Wait, when
only
when was the last time you played Final Fantasy 14?
Probably about 2 weeks ago when I joined Draco's guild.
I'm gonna have to talk to Draco on that to believe you.
You can talk to him. You could even ask him to go into his server. You want to fact check me? Go ahead and fact check me. I got nothing to hide. Anyways,
Smackdown.
the only time...
Don't worry, we do this all the time.
Yeah, I can shit talk too. Fuck you, Rogue.
Like I said before, you've been hanging out with me way too long, so I'm glad that you've learned how to learn how to use the Smackdown every now and then.
I slap it. Anyways, the only time I can ever recall using the report function in World of Warcraft, because that game is so interactive, and obviously you're going to get them immature kids and even immature adults. The only time I've ever used that function was to report spammers for gold farming. I didn't care about people because there's so far and few in between of any cases of quote harassment. Usually anything that happened in the guild, we just dealt with it in guild matters. Sometimes there were friends of other guilds who hung out from time to time. Sometimes they had guild members that weren't really the pleasantest to hang around, but the greatest power that a gamer could have is doing things for themselves and not having to go crying to mommy and daddy game developer to fix the problem for them. How dependent do you have to be?
I thought this was supposed to be PG-13, Pen. Doing things for themselves?
Yeah. That statement is still true. I don't see the problem, Rogue.
I'm expecting, soft candle lights, proper body walls and whatnot.
Yeah, some incense. We can go
Yeah,
there.
it works.
Those are on the very lonely gaming days.
Hey, I've actually lit some of my scented candles and played some Final Fantasy, World of Final Fantasy on my PlayStation 4. So, don't knock it until you try it.
After a gaming swamp ass is real, okay? Sometimes scented candles need to happen.
So,
all right. So
going back to AnyKey, right?
Real quick, I was going to say, after that, they have this little dash, and it says, from providing competitive gamers, they're not talking about competitive gamers, they're talking about women now, women only, from providing competitive gamers with resources, support, and opportunities to collaborating with women in the industry from sectors like game development and broadcasting to build better gaming spaces. What the fuck does that mean?
That means we want to.
All of that is.
We want to build it, and we want you to come to us because we're better than the others. We want to be your parents.
And then they flat out lie in the next sentence. Women have long played an important role in competitive gaming, and we are excited to promote, build on, and grow their involvement in the scene. If what Rogue said is true, it's only about 4%. That is not an important role. Important role for competitive gaming is being competitive, no matter what your skin color, no matter your race or gender.
The only thing that matters in gaming is get good. That's the only thing. Like you said, race, ethnicity, nationality, religion, gender, sexual expression, none of that matters. What matters is, can you get from point A to point B without dying?
Yeah, but my gender's a toaster.
Well,
I toast.
That's all right.
Therefore, I am.
I'm an attack helicopter, so
you're one of those special breeds that are out there.
I am.
Yes. And unique. What about you, Pen? What do you identify as besides, gender fluid?
I identify as a garlic breadstick.
Really?
Nice, warm, and toasty, and just has a little bit of bite.
No, it's always good to have a little bit of bite.
And technically, everyone has gender fluid. It just depends on how well the sex happens.
True. That is true. Yes. So he'd work well with GNF, I tell you. He can show up whenever he wants to. He's got an insight, we can get rid of Nemo. No.
Nemo, he's kidding if you're still listening.
I love you, Nemo. You know that. Oh, by the way, Nemo, move.
He's probably watching us too much to move. The next paragraph begins, but AnyKey is committed to a long-term vision of a gaming community that is welcoming to all players, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, blah 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 blah, and physical appearance. Oh, okay, physical appearance. That's new for me. So gaming has always been against fat people.
Wait, it has always been against fat people? I thought most of statistically fat people were the ones that play the games the most.
In their mother's basements, yeah.
And don't forget the Cheeto dust in their neckbeards and the Cheeto dust.
Yeah. Well, you
the
also have
fedoras.
in their hair as well, because you have females that do play. It's very rare, though they do play those exercise games, but still.
Hey, Wii Fit's a thing. It works. Don't
No,
judge me.
it was a thing. Wii Fit no longer exists.
Oh, I mean, unless you're talking about retro, but sure.
Yeah.
My gaming exercise way back when was Dance Dance Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
No, my gaming exercise was get the hell out of my parents' house before she killed me.
But this
I came from that
first
generation
that
where we had a mom that came downstairs. Yeah, I resided mostly in the basement. I liked my basement room. But it was like, get the hell out and play with your friends. But I am. No, get outside. Okay. So, yeah.
It hide and seek until all the wee hours of the evening. I mean, I still had games. It's just helicopter parenting has become a thing now, and they don't.
Yeah,
like
but
them
that's
going outside.
normal because that was a slow start since the '90s. Helicopter parenting. All you had to do is plunk your kid in front of a TV and call it a day. They were entertained.
Now it's YouTube Kids, but you can't let them watch YouTube Kids too much because then you may find Elsa getting shat on by Spider-Man.
True.
Kid stuff.
Yes. I have a niece that's a YouTube kid, and I'm trying to figure out how come she's watching nothing but YouTube. But hey, that's just the way how it is.
But this sentence that they're talking about is committed to the long-term vision. Gamers already fucking do this. When I play with someone online, I don't automatically ask if they are male or female. I don't ask how much they pay. I don't ask what they look like.
No, see, that's the problem. They're thinking that the how we have the little chats in the MMOs, where they're thinking that because some women or guys who identify as women in game are sexually accosted in some way, that hey, also it might actually affect the people who are obese or gender queer or toastered or whatever. That they may not play these games ever again. Have they ever thought that maybe, just maybe, that there's only a certain group of people who are willing to play MMOs? Because I know, me personally, I hate MMOs. I do play them on occasion if forced to, but I'm more or less a single gamer, like single playing game type person.
Yeah, I've tried MMOs. I can't get into them. For me, one major thing that turned me off to them was the subscription fee. I already paid my $70 for your fucking game, and now you want me to pay $30 a month to continue playing it? How about you suck my giant fat dick?
Pretty much. I mean, when WoW came out, I was like, okay, let's see what this is and see how well they've got to the D&D kind of level. And I was like, yeah, it's all right. And I walked away. And then they came out with the Draenei and the Blood Elves. I'm like, okay, no problem. That's a character that I wouldn't mind playing, a Blood Elf. And then they made them suck. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out. I'm gone. This thing is stupid. As well as $30 a month for just a subscription, just to play the game whenever I'm able to play the game.
But Rogue, they're coming out now with the Nightborn Elves and the Void Elves. You can.
You know what? It ain't gonna change. Sorry, Pan. Ain't gonna change.
You know what?
I ain't got time for that. Sorry, I ain't got no time for that.
I've played okay, so World of Warcraft, you have your subscription, so everything is inside the game. When you get to the free-to-play MMOs, like Neverwinter or DCU Online, it's yes, you can play the game, but then they inundate you with you need to buy these things so you can get this. You need to actually pay real world money to get the good stuff. It's no longer free to play; it's pay to win, and that does
Correct.
not make it fun. I have a
No,
maxed
that's
out
an
level
argument that we
character
had a while
never-
back when it came down to EA and their Battlefield or
Oh,
Battlefront
don't
or
even-
whatever it is too.
Don't even get me started on that bullshit.
Oh, don't worry, we've got more coverage on that one. We were going to have more coverage on that one, Pen.
Yeah, I know.
I just want my quick 2 cents on this. Loot boxes like in Overwatch are perfectly fine. They're cosmetic. They don't do anything to enhance the enjoyment. If you want to buy them, you can. Loot boxes like what EA was doing with Battlefront 2, that's pay to fucking win.
Oh yeah.
And I do not want to pay to win.
You know what?
Well, most people don't, but that's what they want.
I'm not against a company, though. And this is not just because I play. I actually understand a little bit about the, economics of it. I'm not saying that you guys don't, but it's like it's understandable a company charging a subscription fee because the extra money that they get maintains the servers, maintains the allows them to expand. If people are still interested, it allows them to create new content to go above and beyond. And
yeah, but Pen, here's the problem. I mean, I don't mean to jump, but we're going to jump ahead of this one. You have somebody like WoW who's now decided to become free to play game. What was the point of putting down all that in order to supply their server when all they had to do was pretty much nerf their servers like they did anyway?
Free to play in what sense? Because I know it's free to play up to level 20.
No, actually, no. They're going to make it free to play throughout, regardless. Because they need their player base back. They're losing a lot of player base.
I'd like to say, well, if they're, I'll tell you this. Even for those that are not subscription based and that they're the free to play, they still do the, pay real money because they're trying to keep it free by those who want to pay the money for cosmetic items or other items in order to keep, again, the servers running, in order to keep to keep people available for tech support.
I don't know, because we have CSGO. It's been around forever. It's an MMO, first-person shooter. It doesn't need money for its servers.
But the extra money helps maintain the servers and help it continue going.
Well, we are talking about Steam.
And at the same case,
yeah.
Let's save that discussion for later.
Yay!
We went down another rabbit hole.
It's okay.
Of course, we always go down a rabbit hole. That's the beautiful thing about conversations. It starts off one way and we end up in a different direction.
So, AnyKey continues on. We believe it is possible to be fiercely competitive and embrace positive play at the same time. Yes, gamers believe this too. We never needed anybody to tell us this. We hope to pursue research and initiatives that will help to build a gaming community in which players are noted for their skills, not personality. Again, we've already had this.
They know that already!
This is how things like MLG became a thing in the first place. You can't create competitive sports, even esports like this, if people weren't already embracing positive play, fair play based off of rules and respect, as well as competition.
And skill. We have things. Do you know what those are called? Those things, and a place to build in gaming culture where players are noted for their skills and not personal traits. They're called tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Big fucking surprise.
Oh no, but
fucking Christ.
The trail of thought here is we're gonna focus on women and we're gonna do all of this fair play and competitive stuff. So really, the logical sense is women-only tournaments.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Women-only tournaments are not successful. They've already done that. And when esports came out, it was the boys versus the girls. It was the girls on girls, boys on boys, and then eventually they did the best of to see who was going to be the best gamer. Guess what? Girls disappeared, boys won. So esports became a whole different thing, and they decided to go with the best team versus the best team.
And see, here's the thing. E-sport competition removes the barrier of genetical and physical limitations. All you have to do is get good at the game.
Okay, one side note. Technically, that's not true, but only in the aspect of age.
Fair
The
enough.
people who are popular, the people who are popular on Major League Gaming and things like that, who have the skill set, are young, and it is scientifically proven that your dexterous mobility and your timing and reaction time slow over time, which is why when you don't even see any 30-year-old gamers that are professional anymore. It's like this barrier between 16 and I think 25. Those are the prime time for gaming to be your skill set. But other than that,
I'd agree.
So I explained a lot of your skill set, Pen?
No, I'm not talking. I'm agreeing that the only other barrier, as he was mentioning, was age.
No, I was giving you some slack on the basis of your gameplay skills.
Oh, whatever. You know what? You know what? I am fine with failure. You know why? Because it makes for funny reactions.
It does, and I applaud you on it.
I'm okay with not being the best gamer. I'm okay with it, all right? Because I can laugh at myself as much as... Okay, again, slight detour in the rabbit hole.
We deviated yet again.
We've deviated. I don't know if you've seen any of my videos, Antoine, but I've been playing Cuphead for a while.
I want to play it so much.
I want to
play it so much.
It is so good. If you ever
I'd
get the
send you
chance.
my copy, but Pen's been trying to figure it out.
Well, I would need a copy on Steam, and then I'd need an actual controller to be able to play it, but because I don't have an Xbox.
Oh.
Unless you were good with keyboard, you can play it on keyboard, but yeah.
Oh, no. Having me play something on the keyboard is like watching a baby doe trying to walk for the first time. It's not.
I've done both, keyboard and the controller. I prefer the controller over the keyboard, but it is possible.
So my last 3 streams, I've been stuck on one boss each stream. It takes me nearly 20 to 30 tries to try to get
past
it
does.
A particular boss, and you'll hear me rage, you'll hear me curse, you'll hear me whine. But to me, it's still fun because when there's the satisfaction at the end of when I can finally beat it, then I can say I beat it. It took me a while, but I persisted, and I got there, and it was fun.
It wasn't the last time you beat the last boss that you had. What were you on Drago's Final Fantasy channel or his?
Yes, Drago was doing a stream, and while he was doing the stream, I was in his live chat trying to get past one of these bosses so that I wasn't dragging it on another session, so I could get onto the next aisle in Cuphead. And again, at least probably 40 tries because I went on for almost a little over an hour. 40.
Yeah, it did sound. At first, it sounded like you were dying, and then all of a sudden, it sounded like you were having sex, and then I don't know what afterwards. It was just really weird. All these moanings and screamings, and it was like, okay, I don't know what she's doing, but because then we had the game on and everything else. Yeah.
That sense of accomplishment. When you finally beat that boss, it was exhilarating. Mm-hmm. They don't want that. In my Cuphead video, when I was talking about all the controversy that has come up from this fucking game, this beautiful, amazing game, one of them was they want to have a skip boss button.
Yeah, no, I heard that. Because they'd rather just go with the narrative.
You want to skip
then play Heavy Rain.
I was going to say, you want to skip boss button? Go buy a movie ticket.
Yeah,
because that's what you're asking
watch the cartoon. Because that's basically what they were doing. They were trying to watch the cartoon. I'm like going, well, what was the point of watching the cartoon? Because there's no backstory anymore. Because every boss that you beat gives you a little bit of the story as you're going forward. That was the beautiful narrative.
That's why it's called an interactive medium. You have to participate, even killing the boss.
Thank you. And don't understand this. And people like AnyKey don't understand that, because what this is about is this is just about bitching and complaining till you get your way.
Well, they're going to get their way. It's just how they're going to get their way. It's going to be questionable.
Well, if they're bitching and complaining, can I use their own Keystone code against them and report them for harassment?
You could, but then then you're playing with the same narrative of some people that we know who are in the MRA spectrum.
The Badgers.
Yeah. Hi, honey badgers. Hi, Allison. I haven't missed you. I'm still following you somewhere. I doubt she's watching.
She doesn't care enough about me. I don't care.
No, she doesn't care about a lot of people, really. But any.
Oh, but she's happy to e-bag and take their money and guilt.
Well, yeah,
guilt
no,
them
that's
into...
something I was hoping to jump to with our faithful guest there, because he mentioned that he was seeing the honey badgers.
Oh.
And yes, I had the privilege of meeting all of them except for Mike, which I'm quite happy with.
Now, I am friends with Brian on PlayStation. We've played Overwatch together.
Yeah, so am I. I to be honest, being friends with Brian is not hard.
I'm okay with Brian. Brian is
a
fine.
wonderful man.
I'm also friends with Brian on PlayStation Network. I haven't had the chance to play any games with him, but Brian is a sweetheart. I don't agree with some things, but he is a very likable guy.
Problem with Brian, I mean, I like Brian and all, but the problem with this factor that he signed himself up with the wrong crowd for the most part. If he went on his own, he probably would get a lot more followers.
I remember having a conversation where basically Brian was running a drawing live stream, but on the Honey Badger channel. I'm like, you have your own channel. Why are you doing this on Honey Badgers? Why not do it on your own? And
it's the more exposure.
Well,
no, he got less exposure because no one was interested.
I was gonna say.
See, the problem with the honey badgers, they only have a certain select individuals, and they're more or less feel sorry for me MRA types. Keep in mind that I'm part of the Red Pill family, but I am outside of the spectrum. They actually gave us a title that I don't think we really should have deserved because we were just simply bachelors. They gave us the title of MGTOW for whatever reason, men going their own way. So we took it, we ran with it, and we have our own little divide within that manosphere. Now, with somebody like Brian, he doesn't need the Badgers in order to be successful. He is a likable individual. Such as Karen, she doesn't need the Badgers. She actually has more followers than the actual Honey Badgers Brigade combined.
I was gonna say, I before I knew about the Honey Badgers, I found Karen, and Karen is, she doesn't have a woe is me complex. She is very much she exemplifies a honey badger. I've watched her.
If I remember correctly, she's one of the originals. Yes. Her, Allison,
and Hannah.
Thank you. There's two others.
It's what Rachel.
They left. Yeah, no, that was before Rachel.
Oh.
But anyways, the other two left because of infighting, because of Allison, regardless of the factor. Karen is a woman who is trying to do whatever she can for her sons, or for her kid.
Which she can be commended on.
So, which I can see and I can accept for what it is. Now, as for somebody like Allison, for the most part, I'm not 100% sure because I have a lot of different things, acknowledgement about her that we're not going to discuss because it just opens up a new can of worms and I don't want to listen to her.
Different.
But, correct. But nonetheless, she really doesn't need to be a part of the Badgers.
In fact, probably the Badgers would do better without her.
Yes, if anything, the Badgers would do a lot better if she was hands off and she was more or less focusing on her own things. Same thing with Mike. He'd be able to be more successful if he got away from the whole Badger lineup. But because he's part of the Badgers, he's not faring too well on his viewer count.
Right. Karen has been doing a lot of stuff on her own, doing interviews and talks and stuff. I bet because
Oh, yeah.
I'm subscribed to her on YouTube.
I still stalk her every now and then, but she is, like I said before, on her own. She is one of the largest out of all the badgers.
Yeah.
But
different stream.
we're getting
different
off
stream.
topic again, so.
All right, so let's get into this actual pledge because the last two paragraphs are just.
Well, actually, I was gonna move on to the Keystone Code first. We just to get in a little more of where we did the about, so that we get a little background information on AnyKey. I wanted to cover the Keystone Code just so we could see an example of what their initiative is before we move into the pledge itself.
Okay.
Because,
did you want me to?
Oh, if you'd like to.
Okay. Keystone Code. At AnyKey, we are dedicated to fostering respectful, enjoyable, and harassment-free gaming experiences for everyone, regardless of sex, gender identity, and expression, because we know those two things are separate, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, disability, physical appearance, body size, age, or religion. That's a mouthful. Our Keystone Code identifies 4 fundamental values as guides for positive and fulfilling engagement in gaming spaces, even while players compete with one another. These values can be observed being put into practice in all of the healthiest online communities. There is no such thing as a healthy online community.
Actually, there's no such thing as a healthy community in general, unless we're talking about actual health.
Even if you look at it,
even that's questionable.
Even if you look at terms in the body, there's so much bacteria still in your body.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you have mental health, you have physical health, you have all these other things that are very hazardous for anybody. So,
what I was trying to
get a solid, healthy community is going to be almost impossible.
What I was trying to get at is that even your body is under constant assault by germs on a daily basis. You're never ever 100% healthy. It's just that your body builds up immunity over time. Now, if you apply...
Oh, you mean like being able to, forget about harassment and move on.
Thank you. That's where I was going to go.
That's a really good example. That's a very, very good example.
See,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say I don't understand this whole harassment narrative because I don't know about anybody you, but I know I was bullied as a wee child, and I stood up for myself against my harassers and my assaulters, and well, I'm still living and breathing.
Yeah, I was still bullied.
Them fear me.
I was a heavy child from 3rd grade up until overweight, but I got bullied so bad that one of the students that I was bullied by said that they were going, if I showed up to class, he was going to kill me. Now, he was, because I know for a fact now that he's in a gang, and on top of that, he showed me the knife that he was going to shiv me with. Yeah. I went to my principal. My principal said there's nothing he can do. Father, I said, look, this kid is doing this. I need your help. My father came and picked me up.
Yeah.
I showed up to class the next day. He was having a bad day. He was a jackass at the best of times, but...
Yeah, but most bullies just need a hug.
Well,
I wouldn't have touched him with a 10-foot pole. Maybe a 10-foot taser, but not a pole.
One of those little taser guns, just shoot them and watch the little barbs just sink in and electrocute.
Dance like a fish in a fry.
I was bullied as a kid. Elementary school, I was also taking karate lessons, but of course part of karate is self-discipline. It's self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Never use it to attack. Well, even in school, I was bullied, but I never reciprocated. I never showed force. So I came home one day and I was actually, hit. And from boys, too. The girls use more psychological bullying than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hit and I had a bruise on my nose and on my cheek and just above my eye. And my dad went into school with me and we had a parent-teacher conference with the other kid and I think it was his mom, in front of the principal. And, my father kept on asking, well, what is going to happen the next time this happens? And the principal is just mincing words. My father turned to me and he said, the next time he puts his hand on you, you have my permission to hit him back. You have my permission to knock him out. And the principal looked at him shocked, like, how could you say something? We don't condone violence. It's like, but he's condoning it, and you're not giving me anything that's going to protect my daughter. So I'm giving her permission to protect herself. Kid never touched me again. Never touched me again.
I would be a little intimidated as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, mine was, I had a school bully that I think was 6 or 7, grade 1. And he would always try to steal my apple. And he did. One day when I went home after crying that my apple was stolen, my mother told me, well, stand up for yourself. So I did. When the kid wanted my apple, I gave him my apple in a way that he didn't really want it ever again. It kind of went down his throat, but nonetheless, he stopped bullying me.
You were still nice enough to give him the apple. It just wasn't.
Correct. I just gave him the apple. I mean, he just didn't want it afterwards. I mean, oh well, then that was it. That was it.
But you see, these.
So yes,
these
and
little
again,
things-
here we go. We have 3 people in this one that were all bullied, and we all survived. We all lived, and in some cases, we're better for it in some ways.
Yeah, because we took our lickings, and we adapted. We mentally and physically, we became better because of those experiences. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. Obviously, bullying is a bad thing, but it's part of our human interaction. There's nagging, there's bullying and harassment. Part of your growth as a person is being able to overcome it, because in the end, you can't always rely, as much as these people want like big government and authority to do it, you can't always rely on people to be there to protect you, to save you. Nothing is more powerful than you being able to take care of yourself and being able to build up the character to know when it's appropriate to use force and how much of it in order to defend yourself. And that actually leads into the first thing, compassion. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Consider the perspective of others. Well, we do as gamers. We know what it's like to be harangued to the point of where it's intolerable.
Well, keep in mind, the gaming back in the day was automatic harassment. You were automatically a nerd. You were automatically an outcast. Mm-hmm. So for the longest time, gamers have always been the black sheep of any community. Okay, now.
Well, okay, there is one other that I was a part of, and that's fans of professional wrestling.
No,
yes,
again,
I was
that's
too.
Still part of. I think we all were in some cases, but even there. I mean, professional wrestling had its coming and goings. Trust me, I know this because I had a great grandfather who was a carny wrestler. So back in the day. So regardless,
Nice.
he actually wrestled against like Vern Gagne and that. But regardless, getting back to the niche of the actual gamer rant that was going to go into, we as gamers eventually became part of the mainstream. Now, we know those who have grown up with it, what was like before 4 times.
In the long, long ago.
In the long, long ago, yes. And now we're here in the future. And we kind of go, where were you before all this?
Because most of these people that are peddling this are our peers, if not slightly older than us. So
No, not necessarily. Some of them are within
the ones
your
that are
age
peddling
groups.
are usually around our age. And the thing is...
Yeah, our peers or older.
Yeah, but I would have to say it's actually really the youngers, because for me, I'm older than you. I know that for sure, Pat.
Yeah, okay, fine. Mm-hmm. Well, although I wonder how what the age difference between you and Antoine would be, but that's another here
I don't know.
there.
But
I'm proud to say I have lived to the wonderful age of 36. I did not think I was going to make it there, and I hope to make it longer.
So I'm the
Well,
infant of this group by about 4 years.
yes. So I'm the elder out of all of you, and I have seen it since the Atari and the Coleco and the changes and Pong and so on and so forth. And most people wouldn't think that because of the way how I present myself. But regardless of the age, it was the hobby that we chose that made us the outcast. Whether we be wrestling or Dungeons and Dragons or tabletop gaming or video games in general, we've always been harassed in some way. So we've always grown a good thick skin. Now there's people who are just coming into this, who are within their mid-20s or whatnot, who are trying to make it their own little niche. They want to market themselves within the gamosphere. And now I just feel like I should be playing a South Park game. And they're trying to make this theirs. I wish them all the best of luck, but with that AnyKey initiative, right as is, they're not going to get a lot of people that are interested. Look what happened with Marvel when they went a total SJW. The Marvel Comics is dying. It's dying to a point where they're going to be changing it.
They actually came out and made a statement that they're cutting out SJW content.
They have to. It's not feasible. It's not marketable. Sorry, but this Squirrel Girl, the current one that they have now, she's an unlikable character. Wolverine, the female edition, is a questionable character. She's interesting. Before she was Wolverine, X-23 was an interesting character. Now you kind of go, what happened to her? Even the Avengers, the current state with the new Incredible Hulk, the new version of Thor, they're like interesting characters, but there's no core with them.
Williams.
Yeah, Riri Williams. There's no actual true core with them. There's no real soul. It's just poor writing. They made Bobby Drake a hardcore womanizer into he's now gay. No explanation. Just he's gay now.
And that's where we get to the next one, which is integrity.
Be honest, be committed, and play fair. Again, gamers have, for the most part, always done this.
I don't know. Playing fair is only for losers. You have to learn how to be good at the game and know how to take every advantage. That's the reason why the games were built.
That's the competitive nature of it.
Yes.
But that's not what integrity means. Integrity does not mean be honest. That's being honest. Be committed. No, that's not integrity. Integrity is believing by understanding that you are one against many.
Integrity is
You are the Borg.
Integrity is the qualification of of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. It is generally a personal choice to hold oneself to consistent moral and ethical standards.
Which is not playing fair. That's okay. So you're honest. That's fine. All gamers are honest. If you're doing bad at a game and I'm on your team, I'm going to tell you, hey, you're playing like shit. Maybe you should take a break. Now, the way that I say it, the person who I'm playing with may take that. But offense is never given, it's always taken. So that's their problem that I'm calling them out. They're in the gaming world. I don't have time to focus on your fucking feelings because I'm losing because of you.
But you need to respect your fellow gamers, which goes on into the third value. So respect all other humans. Okay.
Humans? Humanoids?
No, it says
I don't respect humanoids. I find them disgusting and vitriol.
All other humans. Oh, okay. I'll get into a point I was thinking about is that humans, teammates, and competitors alike. So it makes me wonder if you start unpersoning or dehumanizing somebody because you don't have the same ideological values, then you don't have to respect them, right?
Apparently not. I mean, that's what they're saying. So, okay, respect other humans, teammates, and competitors. My teammates that I play with, my friends that I play with, I respect them greatly. But if they're doing shit, they're not playing well, I still respect them. To tell them they're playing like shit. If I get a kill in a game, badass kill, and it was I ended up having 1 health left at the end of it, and it was a wonderful fight, I'm going to teabag the other motherfucker because I can, and then I'm going to emote because I respect that person enough to rub it in. Because that will
the classic teabagging.
Because now that person will then come after me, and I can have that same competition again. Of Overwatch. I play Overwatch all the time. The other day I was playing, and I had one person on the enemy team, and it seemed like he or she and I went back and forth. We were playing. We just went at each other. Every single time we saw each other, I either killed them or they killed me. It was never someone else randomly killing me. I love that.
Do you follow Dr. Jordan Peterson at all?
Oh God, don't go there, please.
No, well,
stop.
No. It's not necessarily with Peterson, but this is how I had learned about it. That he in one of his clips, he had cited where scientists had found that in rats, and then in mammals in general, have the play function. And part of the play function is, you could have a smaller rat go up against a slightly larger rat. And if the larger rat doesn't let the little rat win at least 30% of the time, the little rat won't want to play with the big rat anymore. And it's about, it is about fair play. It's like, you don't always have to win, but it's, it's still partial competition and wanting to get better and be stronger. This is what play does. It builds you up so that you can take on bigger and badder competition.
Gives you courage to face the day.
Which goes on into the fourth one. Courage. Be courageous in competition and in standing up for what is right. Unfortunately, courage doesn't mean standing up for what is right. Courage means standing up for courage is standing up against all odds for what you believe in. It means...
No, I thought that was courage to go and do things that that a normal person would not do. Because I'm sorry, the firefighters, they're courageous. They go into
yes.
They go into death knowing that they may not come back out alive. Men and women who serve for their country, go overseas to war. They're courageous in some way.
And a lot of times, courage and integrity. Same sentence.
Yes.
That's the standing up for what is right part. It's not standing up for what is right because it's
standing up for what you believe is right. Because everybody's quote right is subjective. We can have disputes of what may be or may not be right. It's not the relativism argument, but it is, well, is it right to take a cookie out of the cookie jar, or is it right to take a carrot stick out of the fridge?
No, carrot sticks are disgusting. Cookies always.
I know that I'm simplifying it, but it's again based off of personal experiences. What we see as banter and shit talking is normal and is okay and actually adds to the experience of what it is to be a gamer, whereas somebody else who is not, I wouldn't say uninitiated,
or a podcaster,
but for somebody who is, I don't want to say is not uninitiated, but it's just not not integrated like the rest of us are, could see somebody shit talking and think it's abuse, and it's not.
Well, speaking of abuse, let's go over these little bullet points of what they consider for harassment. Now, we can compare what these actually are to what actually happens afterwards, but let me read this through real quick. For reference, harassment includes, but is not limited to, hate speech, offensive behavior, or verbal
You can do
abuse.
it.
Verbal abuse.
I've only been talking since I was 4, or verbal abuse related to sex, gender identity, and expression, sexual orientation, racism, blah, 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 blah. Stalking or intimidation, physically or online. Spamming, raiding, hijacking, or inciting disruption of streams or social media. Posting or threatening to post other people's personal identity information or doxing. Unwelcome sexual attention. This includes unwelcome sexualized comments, jokes, and sexual advances, and advocating for or encouraging any of the above behavior.
All right, so let
Well,
us.
we're doomed, man. We're doomed.
Yeah, we've already broken the sixth one right there. So, oh, and you were mentioning teabagging. You won't be able to do that with number 5. Sorry.
Correct. We were doomed already.
Yeah. The only one.
Okay, so I agree with not doxing. I agree with not doxing anyone. That's bullshit.
That's a logical thing. I mean, doxing is vile regardless.
I'd even agree.
Why have to?
I'd even agree
I have to
with
state it.
stalking and intimidation to an extent, because intimidation, when you're trying to psych out your opponent, that could be considered intimidation, because it is. But to what extent?
Well, I think they're considering intimidation in the sense of, I'll find where you live and things like that. But you notice that we're not okay with the 2 things that are actually illegal. And doxing. The other things are very, 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 very subjective. The spamming, raiding, hijacking, inciting disruption of streams or social media. I'm sorry, when you are part of social media, you are out in the open. There's an easy way to stop people from doing that. You private your information. You private your Facebook page. You lock down your Twitter. The disruption of streams, I'd love someone to come on a stream of mine and disrupt it. Want to know why? Because that means people may actually stay around and listen to what I have to say and subscribe. Go ahead.
That's pretty much what I do with Penn all the time.
Thanks, Rogue. I love you too.
You're welcome. Yeah. See, we entertain each other, and that's how she gets a huge populace.
Well,
like
I don't need you though for that. Even if you...
No. You did kind of get more after we kind of harassed you a bit more. And trusted you in games that you would normally play.
And you know what, Rogue? I'm okay with your harassment. I consent to your harassment.
Which means it's not harassment.
No, it's love. And we want to push each other to become the best that we can possibly be. That is the whole idea.
Which is another reason people incite disruption. If you have someone who's playing on stream, okay, did you hear about the person who was playing PUBG and got banned because they were stream sniping?
I did, yes.
Okay, you are playing a game on a public platform. Mm-hmm. What you're doing to everyone. How hard is it for me, your Twitch channel, find where you are? Now, this isn't what the person did, but find where you are and kill you. PUBG willing to take. It's not cheating.
No.
It's gaming the system, yes, but it's not cheating.
Exactly. Cheating implies that you actually do something outside the norm. Well, it is kind of outside the norm, but outside.
Well, no. In this case, this would be like
outside the ramifications of the game.
Okay, how many of you guys have actually played like GoldenEye, where you have that 4-screen thing?
You are taking the opportunity to do that. The person who is not streaming can hide.
Mm-hmm.
If you are streaming, you are putting yourself at risk.
Well, and it's okay.
It's a choice.
It's okay if you want to stream. It's fine, but know your platform. You can delay your stream by a few seconds, from a few seconds to a few minutes, to keep people from finding you if that's such a problem, or play in private servers.
Well, I don't know
Like
about
playing
you, but
GTA
I know
Online.
there's
If you don't want to deal with the rabble-rousers that are around on the server, take your friends into a private one. When you take them into a private one, no one can join you unless you ask them to. And then you can go and play the games to your heart's content. You know, when I want to play deathmatch with my friends on Overwatch, I'll go and create a custom game. Only invite. You know, so no one can just jump on.
well,
It's
some of
stuff
the
that
most
you
popular.
have to do.
Yeah,
If you
but some of
want
the
to
most
stream what
popular.
you're doing, by all means, stream it. Don't be upset if then someone takes advantage of that. At least that's my fault. I know there's a lot of people out there that would disagree with me on that.
No, it's fine. I'm thinking in terms like I one of the games I want to stream later would be again, World of Warcraft, but just every once in a while, like the adventures of my little warlock, Ben, not Ben, Alec. It was supposed to be a punny name about Alec Baldwin. Alok, as in warlock, Alok Baldwin. That's what it was.
Ugh.
I know, terrible. Anyways,
You should be smacked for that.
I
Actually, if you want punny names, I should Slaughter. He's another one of my subscribers that I've gotten to know on Twitter. He plays Ark. I don't know if you know what that thing is.
I know about Ark.
It's
I think Rogue has played
Oh,
Ark.
Ark. I know lots
He
about
has
Ark.
captured and bred dinosaurs or whatever, and he has done his best to come up with punny names for each and every single one.
It sounds almost like
I cannot
Draconis.
tell you he told me them the other day. I cannot tell you for the life of me what they actually are, because I try and scrub the puns from my brain as much as I can. I swear to God, the man speaks specifically in pun just to make me groan.
I think I do the same to Rogue at times. I find
No, you don't. You don't make me groan. You make me want to hit you.
These things, going back to these. Okay, so it says we do not tolerate harassment or hate speech in any form.
hate speech again. In the United States,
Subjective.
Well, no, it's not just subjective. In the United States, hate speech isn't a thing. It literally doesn't exist. No matter how much you sit there and scream, hate speech, hate speech, hate speech. No.
And it's still covered by the First Amendment. Hate speech is free speech. As long as you are not inciting someone to commit an act of crime and actively telling them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit here all day and scream out my window, Zig Heil, Zig Heil, Zig Heil. No one can fucking do a damn thing about it. Until I say to my roommates, you need to go kill the man next door. As soon as I say that, then something can be done about me.
That's similar to Canadian
Other
law
than
for
that,
the most
hate
part.
speech is completely subjective to the person.
Mm-hmm.
What I say to someone as hateful to them as it is to person B who is overhearing it. If I call my girlfriend a bitch while we're playing Magic the Gathering, I am not hating on her. I call her a bitch because she did something that pissed me off and caused me to lose the game. She understands that. But Sally come lately, who just overheard me call her a bitch, is going to call me a sexist and a misogynist because she thinks I'm hating on a woman.
Yeah, and that's people, again, injecting themselves into a situation as a third party who do not understand what relationship the person have between each other.
Oh, you mean like me?
Yeah. And then the verbal abuse related to sex, I guess that would be the gendered language of bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch, nigger, faggot.
That'd be your gendered language because you're not going by somebody's pronoun.
Gender identity and expression. Sexual orientation. Yeah, I just said faggot. So, and a race, nigga. Oh, I'm sorry, nigger, because I said it with the
nigga.
You said it with the soft A, so it doesn't have as much punch to it, which I still don't understand the difference. It's still saying the exact same fucking thing.
It is, but it isn't. I can go into a whole diatribe on that one.
It isn't, and it isn't. It really is not.
Honestly, just being sarcastic.
Yes.
I understand the difference.
Ethnicity, disability.
It's stupid, but...
You know what? It's a damn shame. Other than color blindness, which there are some games that have mechanics that try to help compensate for that. There are stories of disabled people who overcome their disabilities and actually do play relatively well competitively. In fact, my god brother is blind. His eyesight is getting worse and worse. The most that he can make out are shapes and colors for the most part, but he's blind.
For all intents and purposes.
For all intents and purposes. He loves playing sports games, though. And he does... Not sports. Oh, goddamn. Fighting games. Excuse me, the fighting games. Which is still played as a sport. Anyways. He plays really well. He does tournaments almost monthly in our local area. And sometimes he banks. I don't know... on a professional level how well he would do. I just know that for relatively speaking in from what I've seen, he does really well. And that's just a limitation, his disability that he's had to overcome.
There was a person who had one arm. I saw a video of them playing. They're playing Overwatch, which is why I saw it, but he plays other first-person shooters. He has one arm, one hand. He puts the controller on his shoulder and he plays with that one hand and his fucking jaw. Are you kidding me? I couldn't do that even if I tried. I've seen people play with their feet. There's aside from like you said, colorblindness, there's always ways around it. And most gamers, when they find out that they just got beaten down by someone who can only see basic shapes and colors, they're like,
shit.
Good on you, man. Good on you.
Well,
we are now friends.
Video games in general not only will make you a bit smarter. Think outside the boxes and whatnot. Will make you laugh. Will think about life in different ways. Will actually make you healthier. Will actually make you more focused in certain areas. Science has found that gaming in general is an actually really good productivity for the human species as is.
I believe that 100%. It enhances hand-eye coordination. Like you said, it makes you think outside the box. There's a lot of cognitive thought going on between gamers, and especially when they team up. There's a game that I don't know the name of it, but Bread is a rage-inducing game.
Yes, it is.
Wait,
play it.
What was the game?
And
I am bread.
I haven't. Oh, okay. I've seen
a piece of bread.
Oh, God.
No, trust me. You don't want to play a pen. It's rage inducing. You thought Cuphead was bad.
No. There's another game. There's another game that I've seen 8-Bit Ryan playing with a guy in a cauldron with nothing but a hammer. I've seen him. I've never seen 8-Bit Ryan rage so hard, and I almost want to play that.
You should try QWOP.
Yeah.
Okay.
QWOP is the most rage-inducing game ever. It's QWOP.
QWOP. I'll give that a try, and then I can have all my streamers laugh and point and go, "Oh my God, she's so funny," as she fails. No, probably not funny.
That's the thing. It makes it enhances what you do. Now, going back to this statement at the bottom here, it says, anyone violating these rules in our related communities and spaces will be dealt with at the discretion of activity organizers and Steam moderators, and may include being banned from the online channels. And
Whoa. Did you say Steam moderators?
Yes.
Steam can't moderate.
Stream.
Okay, thank you. Because if we said Steam, then I'm like going, they couldn't even moderate their own channels that they have, let alone somebody else's.
I have is this. Okay, say we take this pledge.
Okay, which
wonderful.
Right, which it leads into but this is why I wanted to highlight on this. Anyone violating these rules. So again, because we're sitting here and we're dissecting, we could be advocating, we couldn't be advocating. Are we encouraging? No. But at the same time, we're not going to sit here and belittle people who may want to teabag you after they win, or who are shit-talking you online, or are just giving their opinion on things, but because somebody has been insulated their life and not exposed to different ideas, considers it hate speech.
If I am playing a very intense game, like it's got my adrenaline up, I'm super hyper focused on it, and we'll take fighting. Okay, it's the championship match between me and someone else, and we are just going back and forth. No one's really doing anything, and I beat him. Stand up and cheer and say, "Yes, motherfucker, I finally beat you." According to these people, if that person takes offense, I don't get to play in tournaments anymore.
Yeah. Have you seen the amount of communities that have adopted this already?
No, is there a lot?
If you go to the affiliates, if you're looking at the actual webpage, you have Anxiety Gamers, you have Deaf Gamers TV, I Need Diversity Game. Then we go into the Catalyst Collector, or Collective, Online SOS. You have the Smash Sister, you've got Able Gamers, you have Gamers X, so the gay community, the people within that, which is a whole bunch of SJWs. You got Lima's Down Under, which is another SJW group.
All these are just social justice warriors that want their fucking cake and eat it too. It's all bullshit. I'm glad there's no real major. I mean, the only one that I
besides Intel, which I pretty much scrapped my entire life off of because it's the whole Gamergate thing. But there's no one here that's it's relatively interesting or no one cares about it anymore.
I haven't heard of a single one of these people.
Stephanie Harvey, she's basically an esports personality. She's questionable. She's in the world of Counter-Strike. She's got a few championships, but questionable how she got it, though.
Anyone violating these rules in our related communities and spaces will be dealt with discretion of activity, at the discretion of activity organizers. So somebody could literally have a stick up their butt and you do something very mild and not offensive at all, and then nope, I remove you. And stream moderators too. So again, you have more people who
blocking comments, banning people from chat, reporting their pages, reporting their profiles. All of this is they want to talk about gatekeepers not letting the diverse group into gaming. These people are gatekeepers.
If you observe harassment against someone, say something. Turn in your friends, turn in your neighbor. Here comes the red scare. Oh my god.
Only now it's the green scare.
No, this is more like the multicolored rainbow plus the brown and black scare.
Yeah, I never understood that brown and black thing. I thought gays were automatically brown, black, white, green, purple, whatever.
They needed more representation. Come on, it's Black Lives Matter. Lives matter.
Well,
they want to be on
it goes back to the I need to see myself as this character. I'm sorry, you see yourself as the character by doing. You can still relate to a character no matter what their sex or race is. Hell, half the time you're running around as some kind of elf.
How am I supposed to see myself as Pac-Man?
Thank you.
Waka 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 waka.
Go even farther back.
Cuba.
Are you the paddle from?
Are you the paddle from Paul?
Identify as the ball, or are you the paddle? Which one do you want to identify as? You can.
I don't know. Maybe it depends on who needs a spanking.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So all of this lead up
This pledge.
to now get to the AnyKey Take the Pledge for Inclusion.
No, not this thing again.
Yeah.
The GLHF Pledge. Good luck, have fun.
Yeah.
We
no.
love video games, esports, and VR because they
Words.
I can read. Because they enable us to discover new worlds, play interesting roles, meet people from across the globe, and face exciting challenges. These experiences should be open and welcoming to all. If you could see me right now, I actually put my hands out like people can see what I'm doing. We believe that a diverse player community makes gaming more enjoyable and competition stronger. If you agree, we invite you to join Oculus, Intel, and AnyKey in creating a gaming ecosystem.
So basically, Facebook.
Only worse. That welcomes everyone and includes all.
I'm sorry, I like playing single-player games. I like being very exclusive.
Yep. Sorry. Usually.
There's few games that I enjoy playing multiplayer with, and usually with people that I'm already friends with. And how do I become friends with those people? By these interactions that we've been talking about all this time. Yes, you can always meet new friends. You can hop. I don't play Call of Duty a lot, but when I did, there were some people that I did become friends with, and we shit-talked a lot before it got to that point. I'm not very good at first-person shooters, but hell, I still enjoy it anyways. And I'm willing to make fun of myself first, while I also make fun of other people, even though I could be doing poorly and weren't being made fun of, because it's fun to me. It's part of my experience.
You're not allowed to have fun.
No. You're supposed to take this pledge, be happy with what the game is, and
No, but there's problems with this pledge, and there's
No, we've already covered this in GNF. We know that.
No.
But,
Yes, but this was to be. We only covered it for a very brief time in the other 12-something topics that we did in less than an hour. I wanted to expand on this a little bit more, and that's why the purpose of this collab live stream to actually do that. So
So I pledge to 1, be a good sport whether I win or lose.
Yeah,
Doesn't that what everyone does? Isn't that decent human being?
I'll check that one off. Yeah, I agree to that.
I can't always say I'm going to be a good sport if I lose. Now, if I'm playing a game and I lose 12 matches in a row...
Yeah, you're going to be ticked off.
You're a little
It's
upset.
understandable. It's understandable, yes.
According to Good Luck, Have Fun, I'm not allowed to be upset that I lose.
Nope, apparently not.
That's all right. Number 2, remember that people online and in virtual spaces are still real people. Is actually a good thing, because a lot of times we look at the screen or we look at our keyboard and we don't realize the person on the other side is actually a person.
They're
I don't know if you guys know all of that. Well, do you guys know about the kerfuffle and stuff that happened at VidCon this last year?
Oh, yes, the Anita and Sargon
Yes.
thing, yeah.
Andy Walski, Chris Walski, Jeff Holiday,
Mundane
Wizard
Matt.
of Calls, all of them, Mundane Matt, all of them met people from other ideologies. And there was all of this camaraderie after VidCon happened, because a lot of people realized, oh shit, there are people on the other side of it, and they're actually pretty decent people except for their ideas. So I think that's a good thing. That out of all of this, that is a good thing to think about, that the person on the other side is not just a disembodied voice. They are an actual person. They may be having a bad day. They may be having the worst day of their life, and they're trying to play the game to feel better. But that does not stop that should not stop you from enjoying the game yourself.
Yes.
So
the only caveat I'll add to this is it's sometimes hard to. This might sound weird, but I'll get to my point. It's sometimes hard to respect someone that you don't establish a connection with. So it's easy to, again, shit talk and harangue and just get really hung up on the, you're my competition, you're my objective, you're my goal in this game, and I'm going to do what I need to win. But following that interaction, the banter back and forth, seeing how much they're willing to give back, or if you happen to be on the same team as them, how much they're willing to help, now builds that connection, and now you can actually talk to them more, and then you may become friends, and then you end up establishing more of a relationship that goes beyond just gaming. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about like anything sexual or anything. I'm just saying you
No, it's always sexual.
No, okay.
There's always sexual tension.
but you know what I mean. The difference with gaming and people arguing back and forth about politics and ideologies is that with gaming, it's not an us versus them, even though it can be and sometimes is. It's on a different field. Literally, it's a different field than the warring of ideas. Because in a game, there's a simple objective that you complete to either win or lose the match. In life, in these debates, these things could actually affect your laws and your social interactions. And if you get enough crazies, they could actually affect your life by, dehumanizing you and discrediting you and
having your reputation ruined, or losing a job.
Yep.
Having your livelihood destroyed.
Yep, just like that. Just like the guy who the New York Times has painted as a Nazi sympathizer. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But he lost his job just because other people took it upon themselves to call his place of work.
That's the main go-to. I hate that shit.
And here's the thing. I've been called a Nazi sympathizer just by saying I respect people's First Right Amendments, even though I may not agree with their message. That has made me, in somebody's eyes, a Nazi sympathizer.
I got called a pedophile apologist because I didn't believe in Pizzagate.
Oh, God.
I was talking with a friend of mine in years, and we were talking about interactions online through things like Facebook and Twitter. And he said, and it's very true, there's no sarcasm font. Which, if someone invented a sarcasm font, they'd be a millionaire.
It's Comic Sans. That's sarcasm.
Oh, damn you, Comic Sans! But there's no sarcasm font. And in interactions online, people that they normally talk. They act the way they normally act. So if someone is very, very sarcastic or hyperbolic, the person reading it doesn't know that, so they take it as very serious. There is a lot of banter back and forth that could just be dissuaded if they knew each other. Now, I'm not saying you have to know everyone, but to, like, making it... I hate telling a joke or saying I'm just being sarcastic. But you have to do that. You have to make your joke, you have to make your point, and then at the end go, by the way, I'm being sarcastic, don't take it so seriously. It ruins the experience. A lot of these problems happen, and it happens even more so in the gaming world when it's just text. The best part of having voice chat and things like Discord, where you can talk to people who don't have a setup online for PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, the jokes, you can hear them, the inflection in their voice. And then you can deal with all of that.
I never hear the inflections in Rogue's voice. Ever.
Now, this before we get too far on things, number 3, know that my actions and words have a real impact. bullshit. No, they don't. They do not have a real impact. Look, I know you that well, and I don't know Rogue that well. I get the idea that we could probably be great friends. If I came on
for
here,
yourself.
if I came on here, and
Which you
just
did.
went with the intention of being horrible. If I came on here and went, Panina, you're the worst bitch I have ever heard online.
Thank you.
I would agree. I would agree. You're correct. She is. She's mean. She's evil-spirited. She's such a cunt.
Oh,
That's a beautiful word, by the way. Cunt.
Stop it.
So, but okay.
goodness.
So you just proved my point. They don't have a real world impact, because I could come on here and want to be the worst person imaginable, be your worst guest, insult you as much as possible, take you, ad hom after direct attack. If you take it as just like you did, thank you. Real world
Well, again,
impact on you.
words are as you want to take it. And that's something that these people don't understand. They think, hey, these words hurt, they're insightful, they're angry, blah, blah, blah. But I'm sorry, but they're words.
Exactly.
They mean anything.
It's a joke, not a dick. Don't take it so hard.
I learned...
Depending on who wants to take it.
True. I learned from a very early age. Like I said, I got more physical abuse from the boys when I was in elementary school, whereas the girls did more of the psychological kind of stuff.
The psychological stuff is worse, I believe. Physical, you can heal. The psychological stuff leaves scars that you don't see until you're in adulthood.
No. And I learned after a while that I have control of how I react to things. It took me a while to practice, but I did realize it. And you can't... later on in life, when I was messing around with one of my bosses, not in that sense, we were having a discussion, and then he was trying to tease me and call me.
I see how it is. You were trying to sleep your way to the top.
Yeah,
it's
right.
okay.
Yeah, right.
If I had the ability to sleep my way to the top, I would take it.
Yeah, that's how I got my job.
So I had said to him, it doesn't affect me if I don't let it. And he thought it was the most stupidest thing, the most ridiculous thing that I've ever said. And I'm like, but it's true. You can say whatever you want, and at the end of the day, I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to accept it. And I can go about my day as if I just picked some flowers in a field and frolicked in the garden. Nothing happens if I don't let it. Sure,
Do you frolic often?
I wish I could frolic a little bit more, but...
I call that a Friday.
Frolic more.
But...
No, but it's very true. You can't you get to choose if you're offended or not. You get to choose if some rando that you meet online is going to ruin your day. Affect me. I have yet to have any serious ones, but I've had people that just come on and tell me they don't like my voice or I'm stupid or whatever. Okay, fine. You have a good day. Thank you for taking the time to watch. They don't get what they want, and I move on.
Nothing pisses people off like that more than saying thank you for something that they tried to make as an insult. That's why you can still sit there and say offense can only be taken, it is never given. There are some people who intentionally give it. You don't have to take it.
It's your choice no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've already talked about number 4.
Yeah, speak up.
Which is speak up against hate speech, harassment, abuse, and assault of any kind. How the fuck are you going to assault someone in a video game? Wait, I take that back. You can assault someone in a video game, but how can you physically assault someone in a video game?
I don't know, but I know that Rogue was being assaulted really badly in Minecraft yesterday. Somebody had created a command block, which I honestly thought was very clever and funny, and Rogue did so too until it started affecting his play. Where
Well, not necessarily. All I wanted to do was because after a while I was like, I need to find where it is, and then we can dismantle it.
the command
But
block,
otherwise, it was still amusing.
it was still
It was
amusing.
brilliant. It was a brilliant command block.
The command block was set up to have a simple command, and that was kill certain player name. And every single time Rogue would respawn, the command block would just kill him again.
No. The beautiful thing was it was set up with a so it has two observers, which I didn't think of the observers being used for that reason. Thank you. Then it was a couple of redstone dusts to a
repeater.
What was it? A sticky piston? No, it was to an actual sticky piston.
Right. It was
with the sticky piston had a stone that that was a block that so it kept it on. Basically, it was a constant charge. So, and then the secondary thing was the solar panel that they used for the sticky pistons to lock into place. So then it would go to the command block, which would set off the command. It was a brilliant and ingenious, simple task. So anytime that you played during the day, you'd be killed. But anytime you played during the night, it worked.
It was brilliant, but...
It was brilliant.
See, then I would have had to sit there.
But then for me, I always made myself go to day, so I can just flood the thing until somebody said, "Okay, that's enough. Dudes, do it again."
Yes, but since it was targeting you, would you consider that harassment?
No, I let's put it this way: I probably deserved it, but no, I wouldn't have considered harassment.
Again, so this number 4 is completely
subjective.
It's subjective.
All right, number 5. I love number 5. Number 5 is just as stupid. Have integrity as a player by respecting the rules, appreciating good opponents, and being a good teammate.
No, I like to break the rules in order to find out how I can break the game. That's the whole idea behind it.
God damn it! I'm still kind of slightly irritated that you found back ways to my rules for the Feast of Giving challenge, but...
Sorry, it was just you left it open, and you know that I can find all the back rows. It's the idea.
Yeah, I had no...
A good gamer figures it out.
We were talking about this. Gamers think outside the box.
I give him credit. I do give him credit. I didn't word my rules clearly enough, so now I know how Rogue thinks. Therefore, I have to think 3 steps ahead of him next time.
I hope you do. I wish you the best of luck.
I probably will still fail, but even that psychological
but
game.
Attempt at the challenge.
It's a meta game within a game. I have to. It's like playing 4D chess. I have to try to think ahead of you in order for the rules of the game to apply. So it's another game in a game.
And even I give you the opportunity to try to rearrange your mindset, your thought process, because there was a few things I was like going, you really want to rethink this.
Yeah. No. Now I'll be stubborn and say no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Left it open to yourself.
All right, so number 6. Ask and wait for clear consent when playing in VR.
This is the VR thing. You know, this is on the base. This was something that we had issues with in the GNF. I never understood that because of the fact that this is like saying that sexual harassment is available in VR gaming.
It is. It is. One of my videos. I don't want to pimp myself out too much. There was an article about Jordan Bellemire.
You do realize you're talking to the wrong people. Please, pimp away.
Do
as much shilling as possible. Shill.
Okay. I did. I will get. I don't remember the name of the actual video, but the article was Jordan Bellemire. It was when Oculus was just starting to come out.
Okay.
And she was in a game that it was basically archery. It was, tower defense type archery.
Archery?
Yes. And she decided, it was multiplayer. Join her. And she said she felt so violated when she saw the VR hands go down to where her chest was. It's so fucking stupid.
I
But
mean, is that the same thing with the girl that believed that she was being harassed because of the what was it?
She
What
was
was
being
it? Grand Theft
virtually
Auto 5?
groped.
I don't know,
Virtually
but there was another one for Grand Theft Auto 5 that there was a bot, or at least you can do a hack in the game to make it look like you're having sex with the character.
yes, it's something like that. Here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna
If you have the link,
message to you.
yeah, and then I can put it up on the screen.
Now, please forgive the audio. It was before I actually got my new microphone, so the audio kind of sucks. But you can still hear it.
Seriously? Don't go there. We have the issues with audio almost on a weekly basis.
So it's
Somebody's
I did kind of a dramatic reading of it. It's just she felt so harassed and that she felt like she was being attacked and that it needed to be taken seriously. And I'm sorry, two disembodied hands floating beneath a disembodied head mean you are physically being groped. You cannot be physically assaulted in virtual reality. That type of technology hasn't been invented yet.
No, and you're gonna get a
yeah, it
lightning.
has, but no one uses it for that.
No, they use it for sex. I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Every single great innovation that has been done for games, video, or anything like that is because of
Even the movie
porn.
industry. Yeah.
It's all because of porn.
No, because if you look at it, the advancements in film photography, it's all because of the porn industry. The advancement in filming is all because of the sound and whatnot for the most part. It was mostly the porn industry.
So let's
Even
let's be honest then. The song "The Internet Is for Porn" is actually just praising because now the internet has opened up the porn industry, and porn industry has basically affected everything else.
Yes.
pretty much.
But yes, there's no such thing as clear consent when playing in VR. If you are actually that fucking paranoid, you need help.
It is not even that paranoid. If you're that freaking sheltered to think.
Yeah, but let's put it this way.
Actually, that
we all know these people are.
yeah, sensitive
These
little
people melt
busybodies.
in a stiff breeze.
True.
And then this brings us to number 7.
Stop, listen, and reassess if I'm told that my words or actions have been harmful. No.
Almost sounds like we're supposed to listen and believe.
Right?
In which case I'd say, bitch, shut the hell up and get good.
No, you don't say get good. You did it get good.
Get good.
G-I-T.
Get good.
Get good. Reassess my words. I'm sorry. I said them. I meant to say them. I'm going to say them to you again if you ask me to reassess them.
Okay.
Wait. At the video game.
Wait.
Better yet, if you asked me to reassess them, I would probably re-stress them in a different way that you may not like.
Exactly.
You thought the first way was good.
What
was bad? And the second way, if I reassess it, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So, yeah, no.
If you want me to reassess it, do you want me to... When someone says something like this to me, I'm like, do you want me to sugarcoat it? Do you want me to be nice to you, or do you want the truth?
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to say something to you, and you want me to be nice to you, I'll say it exactly as I did before. If you want the truth, it's going to be worse.
Because the truth always hurts.
Oh, I make sure
I like the truth. But I always love the truth. The truth is awesome.
It hurts even worse
but then
after the stinging, and then you apply alcohol to it. Ooh, it hurts real bad.
No.
One of the
you
best
have
things
to add the salt to it. You need the salt. The salt is beautiful.
The salt is harvested by the fact that you don't give in to what they want.
Yeah, that's true.
The best thing that you can do is when they tell you to reassess your words, exact same way, but make them think about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can make them think about the insult that you gave them, it hurts them even more.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
because then they actually have to think about it.
And they don't want to, which is great. They don't want to. And then they go crying to mommy and daddy game developer and say they're being mean.
They're being mean.
No, what you're saying is they're not playing the way I want them to play.
Pretty much. It sounds
Yes.
like one of those spoiled, 6-year-olds.
But mommy, why didn't you give me a pony for my birthday?
You sound like you missed out on all the girly stuff. I don't feel sorry for you whatsoever.
I'll tell you a slightly creepy story. When I was little, I had Barbies.
Oh, goody.
I had Barbies, but I'd take the clothes off my Barbies and then I would just wrap like little washcloths around them, like that's all the clothing that they had. And that they had a abusive spouse or father figures or something. And I just pretend like this is their struggle to get out of this whole mess.
God.
Yeah, I was a little I was not exactly
Well,
girly.
I mean, with
It makes,
I'll just
it
put it
makes
this way.
sense.
You had that. I did something similar to that to the GI Joes that I had. They went through some massive maiming. I had arms blown off, funeral works. These guys actually stood up. The 21 gun salute. Certain people died during battle, and they were buried, never to be seen again.
In my
Yeah,
childhood home, in the front yard, somewhere there is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle buried. I don't remember where it is because I don't remember where I buried it. But he died. He died, so I buried him,
yeah.
and they completely forgot about it.
Oh, because he
He's
died.
still there.
Do you remember which one
little
he was?
decomposed.
Believe it was Leonardo.
Oh.
Oh yeah, no, he should have died a long time ago. Leo's a really good leader to a degree, but he sacrifices himself too easily.
Yeah, which really doesn't make you much of a leader. No.
No. And Mikey, he'd be a disaster after the fact. We all know that Mikey would just go, just it's
Postal.
Oh yeah.
All right, so what do we get if we take this pledge?
Okay.
That's what
Do I get cookies? I want cookies.
Oh, well, no.
Chocolate chip, it's specific.
You only get cookies if you join the dark side because they have the best cookies.
I know, henceforth it's the best side. It's got chocolate chip cookies with chocolate dip. Don't. That's why I keep saying, come over here, we got cookies.
Unfortunately, I can't ever trust chocolate chip cookies sometimes because I've been given raisin cookies before. And,
See,
No.
That
We don't do
person
that.
is just evil. That's just
That
wrong.
person is sadistically cruel. They need a hug, but they are sadistically cruel.
all right, so by taking this pledge, you basically get to wear a symbol of your support. It's all about the stars upon thars, the sneeches on the beaches.
So a lot of brown
A
nose.
lot of elitism, yes. You will get an exclusive Twitch badge after you sign the pledge and connect your Twitch account. There's the caveat, because then...
I'll pass.
Yeah, because then if you're part of this community, but then you're reported for harassment or hate speech or not stopping and believing...
Oh, no, not just that. You lose your badge, but you also lose your Twitch.
Exactly! Badges are part of your Twitch identity and appear alongside your username and any channel you visit. Be sure to sign up now before this badge disappears. Okay, this I don't remember being part of here. Be sure to sign up now before this badge disappears at the end of 2017. So this is a marketing ploy to try to get you. This is a call to action to try to get you to do something.
No, it was there before.
In a limited. Okay, I don't remember it being there.
No. We never got that far. We just kind of took the pledge and we said, "Fuck it, we're not doing this anymore." You want to continue? I said, "No."
Okay.
We can continue this at a different time.
They want you to act in a certain amount of time.
They'll have one.
Oh yeah, they'll have something for 2018.
Don't worry.
Oh yeah.
It's there was a friend, Mitch the Ripper, basically pointed out this is basically like some really weird back end contracting. Like you are signing up for something, but then they can always use it against you.
Well, they're going to use this against you no matter what. This is
yeah.
basically just saying that now we have a way to make sure you behave. And if you happen to be a Twitch streamer with a bunch of subscribers and a bunch of followers, and you sign up for this and you screw up, guess what? You're no longer a Twitch. You're no longer on Twitch.
Your revenue stream is gone.
Yeah, don't give in to these kind of initiatives. If you know that usually you're a good person. I hope everybody listening to this is a good person. Being good is subjective. No, not really.
And you know me. How good am I?
Oh, you're terrible.
Yeah, well. But I love being it. You know that I love making sure that everybody else is, the same level as I am.
Being insane and enjoying every minute of it, right?
Of course, chaotic is a beautiful thing.
The thing is that they by basically agreeing to these pledges, either is like some weird subtle way of saying you were never a good sport to begin with, but that you pledge to be from now on, or remembering that there are people, real people on the other side of the screen, or that that you never spoke up against hate speech, but you will from now on. It's
virtue signaling. That's all.
No. It's not just a virtual signal, but it's also a back ass word hand. Basically you're getting slapped in the face for not being a good person.
Or not being a good enough person until you signed the pledge.
Yeah, so it's a backhanded compliment in some way, but it's also a virtual signal in the other.
If you're a good person, you don't need to virtue signal.
And if you're a good person, you don't need this fucking pledge.
Not at all. You don't. There's no other benefit. What other benefit does this badge provide you other than being an elite symbol of, I did this thing? So what? I'd be more impressed with the badges that you get on your Steam account. Actually do something and get you want to do something, be involved in the community. Don't do this advocacy stuff. It doesn't work. You want to know what works? Being involved.
Action over advocacy.
No, your actions speak louder than your words. I was always taught that as a child. Whatever you do, you be honest with what you do. Regardless whether it's good or bad, your actions will always speak louder than your sorry apologies that you give. Because really, you can say sorry as many times as you want to, and mean shit all until you change. You do something about that. And these people are never going to. They're saying sorry because that's what they want to do. They feel good because they set the words "I'm sorry," and now their actions that they're going to do upon everybody else, being vile and inhuman and cruel, because we know a lot of these people are. They're the worst people of humanity's ever kind of created, but they feel good because I've got this badge and I said sorry. Oh God, I feel so good. So it's self-indulgent. It's a stupid pledge that it's questionable from the beginning, because we know damn well these people who are taking the pledges, the majority of them, if not all of them, are some kind of sexual deviant, some kind of pedo, some kind of twisted pervert.
Oh, they have skeletons in their closet, and their skeletons closet has skeletons.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has the potential to do bad things. And some people do, and they're
everybody
genuinely...
has the potential to do harm.
Well, some people do, and some people are genuinely remorseful, and they actions speak louder than words. But there are some people who can't actually wrap their heads around the idea that you can't just, like you were saying, Rogue, you can't just keep saying sorry, or you can't just hide it. Know that you did wrong. You don't have to bear the scarlet letter for the rest of your life, but you just have to...
Oh, honey, I own that scarlet letter.
You own multiple scarlet letters. They spell out NAZE.
That's right.
Excuse me. Anyways, you don't have to appease anybody else. to be a good person. This is and this is going to go back really quickly to my own falling out with my former best friend of 15 years. I had started off in the stream saying that basically he moved me just through talking and engaging from the left of center to the right of center, and that was over an 8 to 12 year process of me now observing politics rather than just being told, here's the sample ballot for our local elections, here's the people to vote for from my parents, because I wasn't interested in
Is
politics.
this a person I know?
You might have spoken to him once or twice before.
All right, cool. I wanted to make sure.
The thing is that basically this person has now, in the years since starting around the time of Gamergate, has moved further left for some reason. Further left.
The Gamergate divide is what it is. It's always going to be.
But hold on.
We're not left.
Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
This person, at some point within the last 12 months before our friendship basically ended, was telling me that white people in this country have a problem and white people need to fix it. This person was telling me that basically I need to constantly advocate for minority rights, or I am part of the problem, that I am a racist and a white supremacist. They even at one point tried to convince my mother that I was racist, and she at some point started to apologize that I was never raised that way. I'm like sitting here, what are you?
I've heard this story before.
What are you apologizing for? I didn't say or do anything, and you're only hearing this off of a third person. What I said was, and I repeated the thing that supposedly set him off to her, in front of her. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with what I said. And it just boiled over to the point of, I don't know, I'm guessing partial indoctrination in a local school, or some of the friends that he hangs out with. I don't know what it is. I've never proclaimed to be smart. I never proclaimed to be... I know I'm not stupid, but I never pretended to be like an intellectual or knowing more beyond my current needs. But I do know how to look up information. I do know how to research. I do know how to try to see different points and counterpoints to an
point
argument.
of view.
Yeah. I may not be right, and I'm okay. I'm okay with not being right.
Pen. It's okay to be white.
I said right.
No, white. I said it's okay to be white.
Okay, fine.
It's okay.
I'm okay with being wrong. That's just something that this person didn't understand. There was one, just to give you just an idea, we had an argument of, this is when the whole, they were going to change the $20 bill to have Harriet Tubman on it. And I'm like, why Harriet Tubman?
Oh, I'm still waiting for that.
It sounds like they're pandering to both the black and female population. So he said, what's wrong with pandering? I'm like, well, pandering suggests
everything is wrong with pandering.
It's not a genuine emotion. If this is something that they want
No, it's not.
Yeah, pandering is not a genuine motion of change or advocacy. It's pandering. It's to get you in.
It's yeah. So they can change it later because they've got you hooked. It's like, oh well, we don't have to change anything because we've just done this one little minor thing and you love it.
So as a counterpoint, and I said this in all sincerity and all genuine curiosity, I said, why someone like Harriet Tubman and not Dr. Martin Luther King? And
because Martin Luther King isn't female.
Well, and then he flipped his shit.
Or no, how about this? What about Rosa Parks?
Or Rosa Parks. Thank you.
Sorry, she's the one that helped spawn all this.
And he said, I can't believe you asked that. Do you know how asinine that is? I'm like, no. What's the problem with that? He says, don't you know their history? I'm like, yes. Then you should know why it's asinine. I'm like, but I want to know why you think it's asinine. And he never gave me a straight answer. He always just continued to say it's asinine, it's asinine, it's asinine. I'm like,
It's because he doesn't have the right. He didn't have the right talking points to counter what you had to say. No one's come up with that argument yet. All they do is just spread around the same fucking talking points, and everyone parrots it like they're goddamn puppets.
Well, it's the same dogma spewed out the same way, just, amplified to 11.
So again, it comes down to, you don't have to kowtow to somebody else's way of thinking. You don't have to automatically believe or agree to what they think to be a good person.
So then, am I to understand that you're not going to take the pledge?
Oh, I'm absolutely not going to take the pledge. In fact, I have thought about just sitting there and saying, my first name is Dip and last name is Shit. Go fuck yourself.
Actually, no, mine was yeah, but mine was going to be a little bit more different. A little bit of gasoline, a lot of matches, and we're going to have a little bonfire.
Oh, that wouldn't be a little bonfire. That you could probably see from about 100 miles away.
Yeah, of course. You probably see it from Florida. But
the only thing that would top it is if Mr. Rocket Man over in North Korea actually launched a nuclear missile.
Oh, I would love to strap it onto the nuclear missile, see what happens.
So you're saying you like the strap-on? Okay.
Oh, we always like the strap-on. The strap-on is a beautiful thing. See, I'm willing to go all that extra mile of knee pen. I'm not ashamed or bashful with that. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. See, when people think they're harassing me, I kind of go, "And this is the best you got? It's lovely. Whatever you're doing, it's brilliant. Show me how you did it." Well, I don't like what your attitude. I gotta go now. Okay, cool. Whatever. I'll figure it out.
So
Well,
go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me on stream, but I do have to run for dinner.
Oh no, go
yes,
grab food. But
please
before you go and eat, tell people where they can find you.
Yes, please. I want to know. Besides that link that you left me, that's kind of boring.
Oh. Well, you can follow me on Twitter at @Coldspire. My YouTube channel is Help for the Guildless. I hope you can put the link up in the description of the stream.
Don't worry, we'll pimp it up to the nines.
Thank you very much. I do have a VidMe, but I'm not very active on it. And I also have a Patreon that is out there, but no one's I really don't pimp that out because I don't. But you can.
Don't be shy.
It's up to anyone.
Don't be shy. People can still always donate. People can always still help you grow.
Gotta help a brother. Give him money.
and I'm not on Twitch that much anymore, but I do have a Twitch account and it's just Coldspire, and that's how you can find me. Inviting me on stream, this has been tremendously fun.
It has. We have to do this again.
Definitely. Maybe next time I'll come up with a topic. Who knows?
And Rogue, since you kind of were an impromptu guest, where can people find you?
Sorry, GatorandFrog.com is the best place to find all of us at. You can also find us at Twitch. You can also find me on the Twitch or the Google Sphere or wherever else here you can pimp your social media. You can also find Ben in the same location here, whatever else that she's got. See, look, I did all the.
I have to get you to do my outros. My outros always sound like I'm begging.
Well, I can do your outros. I can also do intros and all other things. Pan, you haven't used my thing I gave you.
I know I need. Well, I'm trying to still decide which one I like better.
Okay. You can use all of them.
Thank you very much, both of you. It was a wonderful time.
Thank you very much.
Actually, it was brilliant talking to you. I didn't mean to harass you too much. But it was that lull that you guys had that was like, okay, this is going to be a really bad stream.
No. And,
No, because remember the last time you did that?
Remind me.
So,
thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. And I hope to do this again soon. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Very much
To
both.
everybody watching, thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope you've enjoyed every minute of it. Good night.